Hello, welcome back to BookNerdTV. Today I've got a very short video for you. I say that all the time and then they're sometimes not very short, but neither here nor there. I have a relatively short video for you today. I'm going to do an old book tag. It's called a social media tag. It was created by Faulty Devices, who is no longer on BookTube or on YouTube anymore, at least in that incarnation of Faulty Devices. I saw a video by the Redhead Reader, and the Redhead Reader did the Faulty Devices version of social media book tag. However, Redhead Reader also added a couple of new social platforms to bring the social media book tag up to date. So that's the version that I'm going to be doing, the Faulty Devices plus Redhead Reader version. Platform number 1, Twitter. Name your favorite book that is under 200 or 300 pages. My favorite novella at this moment is Long Division by Kiese Laymon. You all know that I bought the original version of Long Division a couple of years ago now, and it took me a while to read. I took like a year break between starting to read the book and finishing the book. And I also recently bought the new edited version of Long Division, which includes a slightly different edit now that Mr. Laymon owns the publishing rights and everything to Long Division. And since I already said that I was going to reread Long Division because reasons, now I have the new version, and it will be the most recent edited version of his book, edited under his hand and published, with him having and owning the rights. Platform number 2, Facebook, a book everyone pressured you to read. Well, to be honest, no one pressures me to read anything. I'm a huge mood reader, so I read whatever I feel like I'm in the mood to read. However, I did remember hearing a lot about the book Ancillary Justice by Leckie. Ancillary Justice was sort of in the zeitgeist there for a second. And I think this was before I even started the BookTube channel. So, I've been hearing some things about the book, not only via BookTube, but also I listen to podcasts and a lot of science fiction podcasts. So, some of her short stories would pop up there, what have you. So anyway, I thought, well, let me read this because it sounds, really interesting. I read it. No, I take that back. I didn't read it. I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it at probably 1%. I really did not get along with that book. So, yeah. Platform number 3, Tumblr, a book you read before it was cool. A book I read before it was cool was Team of Rivals by Doris, Kearns, Goodwin. And that's really all I can say about that. If you haven't read it, read it. Platform number 4, Myspace, a book you read and cannot remember whether you like it or not. Well, for me, that book a recent read for me like that would be Tomboy by Selin Davis. I still don't know if I like that. I like the idea of the book. I don't know if I like the execution. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It also wasn't good. I still have confusion. Platform number 5, Instagram, a book with a beautiful cover. Well, again, recently, most beautiful cover. There's a couple of them, but I'm going to use one for this particular answer because I'm using the other one for another answer. You don't care about any of that. But anyway, most beautiful cover for me right now, Legendborn by Tracy, Deonn. I love this book cover. It is glorious. I just love it. Platform number 6, YouTube, a book that you think should be turned into a movie. For me, I would love to see Blanche on the Lamb by Barbara Neely. I would love to see that book turned into a movie. I think there were at least 4 or 5 in the Blanche series. And I would love to see it turned into a movie. But better still, I would love to see some streaming service pick up this book because it takes place, I think, in I don't know if it's the 50s, 60s, or 70s. It's not current times, although they could translate it maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so this movie or TV streaming situation could be sort of a bit of a period piece. And Blanche is a lady who plays a housekeeper, and she is on the lam. I think it's a check cashing situation that she gets sort of caught up in. And to get herself out of town, but also make some money to help her correct the situation, she goes to work for this sort of upper class family who needs like a caretaker slash house cleaner when they go to their summer home, winter home, extra home that they're going to. And once Blanche gets there, cozy mystery hijinks ensue, right? I thought the book created this world and this space in this moment in time really well. And I would love to see that, because there's so many current issues that could be looked at. I was going to say attacked, but that's not, no violence, but just could be analyzed and broken down with race, with class, with entitlement, with just so criminal justice even. So anyway, I'm running on too long. This is supposed to be short, and so onward. Platform number 7, Goodreads, a book that you would recommend to everybody. Well, for me, I would recommend At the Dark End of the Street by Danielle L. McGuire. So At the Dark End of the Street is a look back at the history of Black women's fight for bodily autonomy, right? Black women's fight to not be assaulted and have that assault, have that crime dismissed, ignored by the larger society and by criminal justice system. And it features because it's a nonfiction book, but it features one Miss Rosa Parks, who I think that when people read that she was a secretary for the NAACP, I think they think literally secretary, administrative assistant kind of thing. And maybe at that point in her life, that may be what she did. Although I feel like secretary, even in that sense, was something that was more than clerical work, but neither here nor there. At one point in her younger days, Ms. Rosa Parks was an investigator for the NAACP. So she would go out when reports of injustices, usually it was, sexual assault, sexual violence, was perpetrated. She'd go and investigate the events around what happened and report back to the NAACP. The mere fact that she went into the field and that she investigated. So these are very perilous times for Black people in general, but Black women specifically, because of the types of violence enacted upon Black women. So I won't rehash the book for you right now, but what I will do is tell you that I thought it was a really, just an excellent book. It gives you an idea of what bodily autonomy means and has meant, and that Black women have had to fight for it for themselves, which of course then affects not only Black women, but women in general. This was an excellent book, and I highly recommend that you buy it, borrow it, listen to it. It's very good. Platform number 8, Skype, a book with characters you not only like to read about, but would like to actually talk to. That's going to be Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I mean, you knew this was coming. And I would like to meet Chloe and all of her sisters and her grandmother. Platform number 9, Snapchat, a book that was pretty on the outside, but ugly on the inside. Well, I don't know how pretty No Visible Bruises was cover-wise. I mean, it wasn't an ugly cover, but it wasn't, beautiful or anything. The inside was ugly because of the subject matter, which was domestic violence, and kind of that it happens, why it happens, how it happens. And I read that book for the 2020 BookTube Prize. It was a really good read. It was a hard read because of the subject matter. And if you think you might be interested in reading No Visible Bruises by Rachel Louise Snyder, if you think you might want to read that book, content, trigger warnings, just all over the place. Any manner of trigger warning, probably you need to be aware, because the author gives, in some cases, pretty unflinching detail and description of some of these cases. It was hard. It was hard to read. It was hard. It was hard to read. So you've been warned. It's well written, well documented, and there is hope as things change and evolve with regard to domestic violence, but you're going to go through the ugly to get to the hope. Platform number 10, Pinterest, a book that taught you something. Well, I have 2 books for this. The first one is The Disordered Cosmos by Chanda Prescod-Weinstein. I recently talked about this book on this channel, so you already know how I feel about this book. And the second one is Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde, a book that I also very recently talked about on this channel. So if you want to hear what I thought about both of those books, I will attempt to link them in the description. Well, that's it. That's a tag. I'm done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is supposed to be sort of a short but sweet tag video. I don't know how short it's going to be, but I'm hoping for under 7 minutes. We'll see what happens in the edit. But thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, subscribe and become a book nerd veteran. Stay safe, be good, do good, and I will see you in the next video.